This queen used to make men duel to the death before sleeping with the winner. Her name was Nzinga, and she was a total power freak. She ruled Angola in the 1600s, and she did not like being referred to as queen. She was a king to her people, and she even ruled dressed as a man. It was a way for Nzinga to feel powerful by reversing gender roles, but it did not stop there. She was famous for keeping a large harem of young men, known as male wives. There was a whopping 80 of these men in her harem, and they were only allowed to wear dresses and function as women of the palace. At nighttime, she would randomly pick 2 of her wives and make them engage in a brutal fight to the death. She would watch with lust as men ripped each other's hearts out for her. The winner was rewarded with spending only a single night with her, as no one ever slept with her twice. In the morning, the victor would also get killed, and she would start all over again. You'd be surprised, but she only disbanded the harem after turning 75 years old, upon which she married the youngest member, a boy young enough to be her child.
I'm sure a lot of ladies out there saying, yes, queen.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. Bullshit.
So why do I call bullshit on this video? Because there are many other videos that are great videos about Queen or / King Nzinga of Angola. There are plenty of great videos about her that tells about how she was a diplomat, how she was a very smart diplomat. Like when the Portuguese wanted to have a meeting with her and they expected her to sit on the floor, she had one of her servants begin on his hands and knees, and she sat on the servant for the entire time to show her equality with the Portuguese governor. She was a brilliant tactician. She fought in many, many battles. She was able to negotiate a treaty with multiple people, won the Dutch West Indian Company to fight against the Portuguese. But one of the treaties and one of her insights that she did that starts with the bullshit of this video is the fact that after initially being weakened by the Portuguese, she then went and formed an alliance by marrying an Imbazinga warlord named Kasanji. So she went and married Kasanji. They became husband and wife. So she had a husband. One husband. The reason why people have been portraying her as a woman who had a harem of 80 men and she liked to dress as a man. And in battle, when she went to battle, she did dress like a man in battle. But the reason why they like to say that she killed her husbands, she had her husbands fight to the death and they slept with her one time, it's all because of one author, a Mr. Dapper, who 100 years after she died, wrote descriptions of Africa. Now, Dapper had never been to Africa, didn't know Queen Nzinga, never even been there, did any archaeological research. He simply took the word and letters written by those who worked for the Dutch West Indian Company. That's it. He took letters that they wrote, sensationalized some of the writings that they wrote in those letters and interviews of, and this is 100 years later. So a lot of it is not eyewitness contact. And decided that he was going to write this as part of the description of this Angolan queen. Now, why would this be an important thing in the mid to late 1700s for him to write up about an African queen who dressed as a man, who in European eyes would have been seen as promiscuous, who would have been seen as villainous, is because at this time frame there was a trend going on in Europe where men were looking to vilify women of power. So you had, even in Europe of their own kind, you have Catherine I being vilified. You had Marie Antoinette being vilified. There's no evidence that she ever said, let them eat cake. So in a propaganda attempt to shut down the greatness of any woman leader during the 1700s, they wrote about how women who were leaders were acting like the worst versions of men in this situation. So it's all a legend. It's a myth. And I'm glad that some Angolan people are speaking out against this type of rhetoric. And then I got to continue in other things about her that you're going to see in some of these other videos where they say that she converted over to Christianity as if she willingly converted over to Christianity. She did not. She did not. In order to form a political alliance with Portuguese, she was informed, because she sent diplomats to the Vatican, she was informed that she needed to convert over to Christianity in order for her to maintain her political stance of keeping Angola free from colonization and fighting against the transatlantic slave trade. Now, because of that, she started implementing different Christian ideas, bringing in missionaries, building churches, things of that nature, and then putting Christians on her court. Now, when she had a problem with some of the indigenous religions, she did capture some of those priests and sell them into slavery, but she was adamantly against selling slaves into slavery to the Portuguese unless they were someone that she considered to be a threat to her kingdom. Then yes, like many, they did it for that reason. But as far as wholesale, like we just doing this as a business, that wasn't one of her concepts. She was aiming to keep Angola free from slavery and free from colonization. She adopted Christianity as a political tactic in the same way that King Mazana of the Axiom Empire adopted Christianity in 300 BCE, 300 AD, CE, because I would not use AD, 300 CE, in order to have better relationships with Rome. So it was a political maneuver for her to adopt Christianity. It wasn't through divine revelation, but through pressure from the Catholic Church, from the Pope Alexander the Fourth, I think, or no, seventh. One of them Pope Alexanders, from one of them Pope Alexanders, in order for her to do that. So it wasn't that it was a willing thing. And then more and more pressure was put on by the Portuguese and put on by the Catholic Church, and they went back to war again. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, and don't always listen to something at face value. Go and do the research, because I saw this video around 8 o'clock this morning, and I spent 2 hours researching her, and this is what I have for you. And there's actually a lot more information that I researched. Just don't want to make the video too long. But y'all have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is not negotiable. Good journey, good vibration. Oh, and if it's before 2-3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm probably live on Facebook and YouTube right now. So come join us.